that note, we welcome Yusuph Kileo, the cybersecurity and digital forensic expert from Tanzania, sharing perspectives on understanding the use of MFA internet safety systems, protecting yourself from hackers and unauthorized access that compromise digital devices and owners' personal information. Yusuph, we are thankful for your patience. Welcome to the room, and we are eager to hear what you have to share with us today.
Okay, good. I'm very happy to be a part of you, and I was just listening to the previous speaker. She spoke very well. My name is Yusuph Kileo, a cybersecurity and data forensics investigation expert. I've been in the field for some time, and I'm going to take you through a little bit of how we can make use of MFA to protect our devices and data, and also how can we protect our data in our mobile devices. To start with, I want to start with the number of challenges that we currently experience in a digital world. We have seen a lot of incidents happening whereby money and data people are taking from us. For example, we have this colonial pipeline whereby they were forced to pay around 5 million due to ransomware attack that took place to that particular incident. But also we all remember the incident of SolarWinds, which was one of the very crazy incident back in 2021. But also we have incidents happens in university called University of California, where they were forced to pay 1.14 million. If that's not enough, we have seen a number of hospitals, a number of different attacks in banks, financial institutions, and so on, that really put ourselves in a very serious troubles when it comes to cyber attacks. Basically, we have reached a point where it's no longer a matter of if, but now we are talking about when one will be attacked. And putting that perspective, there is a site that you can put your email and your phone number and see whether it has been attacked or not. We have done a number of research from my bachelor, when I was doing my bachelor on cybersecurity and data forensics at Staffordshire University. We did a number of research on how things happened, and also we have seen many other research also happening here and there, and we with this conclusion that it's a matter of if indeed it is. It's not a matter of if, it is a matter of when. And it is true, because big giants, small enterprises and large enterprises like Facebook, Google, Yahoo, and others all have fallen victims to cyber attacks. Big countries, small countries, it doesn't really choose where to fall. So we need to put a lot of efforts to make sure that we protect our digital presence. So how do we secure our data on our mobile devices? This is the first thing I want to talk about. You see, when we talk about mobile devices, we touch mobile phones, iPods, those laptops like the one we're using, and many other things that can be moved from one point to another. And COVID-19 taught us that we mostly rely on these mobile devices now and then, because people started working from everywhere. Now we find people sending emails from their mobile phones. We find people sending emails from their mobile devices. And these things keep on happening, and we don't really pay more attention of what is really happening behind those mobile devices usage. Because most of these people that are using these mobile devices, some of them they don't have knowledge of what is happening, why or how their data can be taken out, or some people can utilize or take advantage of those mobile devices to steal money from them. So I bring to your attention the some of the considerations. Now we have something called bring your own device, create your own device. All these things are now buzzing around. Most organizations have come up with these policies where they can allow people to utilize their own device, to create their own device, to work from everywhere due to COVID. Uh, uh, After COVID, so it's become a new norm that people can work from everywhere and you can deliver. What we need from you is just to deliver based on your expectation, based on the company expectations. But also the data that are in our mobile devices possess or have, um, they're very sensitive when it comes to operation and financial well-being of our business. And this data also have access to or direct access to our organization sensitive data. That's why when you send an email, you can even attach an attachment using a mobile device like your phone or any other mobile device that belongs to you. So these things also can be stolen. And I remember my own laptop also sometimes back was stolen. And I was really sad because I thought I lost everything, but good things. We did a special operation and we managed to get the data back. So, but these things they can be stolen, and our data we can end up finding them in the wrong hands where people probably utilizing, assume your phone or mobile phone with pictures, videos, and so on. Now it is with the wrong hands, and probably those private pictures and private data within your phone can be shared or can be tampered with. Similar to our laptops, the company data, the sensitive data can be also be found. So these are things that we need to consider. But also, we have the story of unpatched or missing patches on our personal devices. I've seen many people really don't like updating their mobile devices. And when those updates are seen that you are supposed to update your device, you find people probably ignore or skip those updates because of many reasons. I've tried to ask few. Some they say probably it's they're using their own mobile data, so the data will go. Some they say the computer will or the phone will restart, and they don't want to go through that processes and so on and so on. So we have different reasons, but bottom line, people they don't really patch their devices. But also we have non-sanctioned business software, and also have limited capacity of IT support staff to assist remote working or people who are working from everywhere. As we have seen earlier that people now are working from everywhere, and now to support all these people is difficult. As a result, we find these people are utilizing our critical infrastructure and they can't really utilize the device well, and we end up having troubles in our organizations. But also we have challenges with policy, cybersecurity policy or security policy in our organizations. I've done one of my work that I mostly do is to review people's policies, and I've actually for the past 3-4 weeks I've been busy on the same. We look at people, organizations, policy at different levels and so on. So most of the time, you find that either these individuals or I mean the companies or different organizations, they don't at all have policies, security policies, or if they have, then probably it doesn't really meet expectations that we want, or it can't comply with what we expect them to have. You find some they copy and paste, and then they end up having challenges. And you find this, that's another option. Then third, you may find they have many things, but for example, it doesn't address the issue of BYOD, bring your own devices, how they can handle those devices that are utilizing from home and so on and so on. So that are some of the consideration. Now let me touch a little bit of threats that we have on our mobile devices. The first threat we have, before I touch the first threat, I remember I once tweeted about the Dr. Who that was Dr. Webb that was talking about a number of challenges that were found on Android phones, and it was around 9 Trojan apps. All these apps were belong to photo editing and upload features, where around 5.8 million people downloaded those apps from Google Play Store. And those apps, unfortunately, were stealing users' Facebook accounts, passwords. So I end up saying we ask people to install apps that they know about. And I also tweeted the other time about 9 Trojan horses were affected Android smartphones. And there were also those malware sneaked into a Google Play Store as a legitimate app. And unfortunately, they were having significant challenge to financial well-being of those people who were affected. But also there was a certain headline on fake banking and antivirus applications posing threats to users. So what are the threats from those three examples? The first thing that I've seen based on my experience is that we have a big challenge when it comes to password hygiene. I have a serious or poor password hygiene as one of our major challenge in our mobile devices. I remember the other time I was telling my colleagues that you find people utilizing things that they like, for example, Manchester, or you may like something like mountain or anything, or people's name. Other people, they use consecutive digit like 1, 2, 3, 4. Some people, they use one digit like 9999, and different kind of things, pattern to be easy to be guessed. Or if you see that the person, how they write the pattern, you can easily rewrite and open the device. We have this challenge, and we keep telling people that they should do something about it. So this is one of the problems. Then we have physical device breaches, where you find most individuals, they leave their device unattended. So when they leave their device unattended, what is happening is that some other individual may, because those devices, they don't have password or anything or PIN, so people can come in and do anything with those devices. I've seen this a lot, and in my in some of the cases that I've handled during my time, I've seen many people, they have fallen victims just because of this carelessly leaving their devices unattended, and those devices were not having username and password. And after that, people may make use of that weakness to cause or to sabotage others. In addition, we have seen mobile ad frauds, which is troubling many mobile devices nowadays. You find people installing apps which are not legitimate, or some of them legitimate, but they run those mobile ad frauds, and many people end up falling victims. Apart from that, we also have the challenge with unsecured IoT or out-of-dated devices. We have seen the reason why ATM machines fallen victims a lot sometimes back. It was because they were utilizing the operating system which was outdated. As a result, they end up having a lot of challenges. They end up having a lot of troubles on their mobile. I mean, those ATM machines. But also have data leakage, whereby you find a lot of people utilizing these mobile devices. The data happened to be leaked, and I remember leaked online or leaked somewhere else. And I happened to participate in one of the interview that we were discussing at length of this growing challenge, whereby some people, they take their devices to mobile phone doctors, and once they do that, those people, they end up misusing um, uh, those they end up misusing those devices and start leaking out those data from those mobile devices. And according to research done by IBM and Panama Institute in 2021, it says around 135,000 uh, um, uh, uh, dollar happen to be the cost of these data breaches. Now we have another bigger challenge due to what we call cryptocurrencies. Now we have cryptocurrencies, and people want to mine those digital coins. And because of that, we have this cryptojacking attack, whereby people are trying to do the mining of cryptocurrencies, but unfortunately, they don't have enough devices. So what they do, they get into other people's devices, mobile devices like phone, like these mobile phones, iPads, and so on and so on. And they hack into those devices and put in Trojans that they can help them to mine cryptocurrencies. You find device start going slow, device is not working the way we expect them to work, and so on and so on. So we have this bigger challenge as well. I'll talk at length on how to get out of it. So after that, like introduction, I think it's important we discuss on what should be done or what we should do to protect our mobile data. Number one, because we have seen the bigger challenge that I started with was poor password hygiene, then I recommend people to protect their devices with password. Because if you have a device which is not protected with password, then you put not only your data in danger, but also you may put your organization's data in danger without knowing. Because that device, once you send email, you do the attachments and all, meaning you are interacting directly with your company or your organization's data. So I'm emphasizing this because the other time I was talking with about this particular topic of passwords and how they need to protect devices with passwords and so on. And one lady told me that because they are married, or she was married, she didn't want to keep a phone protected because a husband would think otherwise. And I asked her, when you think about personal issues, while the same phone you can send email from your office, the same phone you receive email from your office, you send attachments, you have groups, WhatsApp groups that you have a lot of people joining in, then definitely you need to think about what you, more than what you have just told me that you fear that a husband may think otherwise. The other time I emphasize on Twitter as well that we need to protect our devices with unique and strong password. Thing that people may not easily guess. I'm going to talk at length on passwords and multi-factor authentications later. So we can see all this can be hackable, but you need to make it harder for criminal to hack. So it has to be long, unique. But remember, these things can be also hacked. So to make it harder, you need to consider the multi-factor authentication as well. In addition, there is installation of reputable security suites. We need to think about this security suite. Very important because I think most of us, we may pay more attention to put antiviruses, anti-malware, and so on to our laptop, but we forget things like iPad, Android, and so on. And thanks to some current renovation, on this technology where we sometimes these devices come in with pre-installed security suites to protect our data and devices. But we encourage people to think about those as well, to make sure that their devices are well protected, because protection begins with an individuals. Also, we need to know our applications. The application become a serious challenge. There was a lot of initiative to make sure that people understand their app before they installed. There was several operations that are discovered, and a lot of research that discovered that some of these applications that we use infringe our privacy. And we took a lot of measures, and good thing I participated in several operations regarding applications. I remember the other time we had to shut down several apps in our countries. We take measures to educate people to know application, to know what application takes from them, and so on and so on. But unfortunately, some people, they end up agreeing installing those applications. And after installing those applications, they don't understand that those apps, they may put the organization at risk, not only themselves. So you find app that takes they collect data like your files, look into your files, photo, video, locations, phone calls, whom you call, contacts, and many other things. And you don't even pay attention to those things. You just agree and proceed. And unfortunately, when we put measures, we keep changing. Before we had a list of things that they may be taken by those applications, and then we move to this one where you can see they show, like, for example, this application will be want to access your location, and then there is another thing will pop up. This application want to access your photo and pictures, want to access your camera, want to access this and that. But people keep saying allow, and later on you find they complain that probably their privacy have been infringed. They keep saying that it has to begin with you. You have to do something about it before someone else did anything to you. So this is very important. Now we have reached a point where we give explanation at length what this application is going to do on your mobile devices. And we encourage people to limit the number of applications. If you don't need it, then try not to have it, because you will keep your device safer. In addition, having application which is actually not infringing your privacy and not protect your data is one thing, and keeping it updated is another thing. So we encourage people as well to make sure that the application they're using need to be updated, because when you update an application, it means that you're patching your that particular updates. I mean, that particular applications, because once they discover vulnerability challenges with that application, they normally release updates. And once you update your device, your application, meaning you're closing those vulnerabilities, then you keep your data in your device safe. In addition, we can have wipe messages, wipe data remotely. This is very important, because I remember the other time I keep receiving, especially girls and females, saying that I lost my mobile phone. There was some sensitive data of mine to that particular phone, and I fear that maybe they will be leaked online, this and that. So I keep getting this kind of complaint or queries. So what I advise those people is that these applications give you an ability to remotely wipe your data, remotely wipe those messages. We have seen, even WhatsApp shows us, you can send a message accidentally to someone you will not intend to send, and you can easily redo or wipe that message. You can write a status, and within a certain period of time, it will disappear. It is wiped. And even someone reply to that particular status, you cannot see it again. So these are some of the examples, but you can do it like that to your old data. I remember the other time, I have a story a little bit longer, but I will shorten it. I once did that to someone because I was just trying to grasp attention. So these things can happen, and good thing the technology now gives you an ability to do that with the new settings in our mobile devices. So we can strike that fear that maybe my device has been stolen or this and that happened. You can always wipe those data remotely to keep not only your data safe, but also your organization's data safe. In addition, we encourage people to keep records of their devices because these things can be stolen, as I've said earlier. If someone stole those devices, we need to recover those devices. So I worked with cybercrime unit, and I remember during my time, we introduced what we call, if someone stole your device, like mobile phone, we should be able to recover it within 7 days. So when that happened, many people wondered how we can manage that. We managed because we collect information from you. For example, there was a form you need to fill up, the IMEI number, the phone number that belongs to you, the type of phone that you're using, people that you communicated with frequently, the time that you lost your phone, and few other questions that you have to answer. From there, then we start tracing and tracking that device, and we return it back to you. So for that to happen, recovery purposes, then keeping records is very important. Just like in our offices, we normally get a lot of laptops which are similar, but the only different things with between all these laptops is serial number. So you need to have that serial number that differentiate your laptop and a friend's laptop and so on. So these are things that we need to think about. Now we have technologies that can help us to protect our data. The list normally is endless, many, but I will just mention a few. We have Zero Trust, a new buzz in town. Everyone talks about it. Then we have Identity and Access Management, IAM, that can help you also protect data in our mobile devices. We have Privilege Access Management. We have also CAS. We have CPM and also multi-factor authentication, which I want to concentrate on now. Identity access management, it's all about ensure that the right person get the right access to the right resources to the right time for the right reason, enabling the right business outcome. This is all about identity and access management. And we encourage people to utilize these tools to make sure that at least everything or the data within the organization remain protected. Now let us touch about multi-factor authentication, which I was asked also to speak about it. I've been talking about it many times. I tweeted many times about multi-factor authentication. The challenges with this multi-factor authentication, we are moving to 6-factor of authentication now. Many people knew about 2-factor of authentication. Some knew about 3-factor authentication, but we actually have more than that. We currently have 5 factors of authentication. You just use what you think it's good for you. And to name them, the first one is what you know. These are commonly passwords, pins that we normally utilize. And then we have what you have. We're talking about key cards here to swipe, tokens like those OTP tokens and so on. Then we have who you are, those biometrics, fingerprints, facial recognition, etc. Every biometric that they can identify individual. But also we have where you are, and then how you do things. Just to give an example how these can be used. For example, if you go to ATM today, ATM machine. When you go to ATM machine, you may need 2-factor authentication. One, they will ask you, what do you have? you put the ATM card, and then they ask you what you know, then you put the PIN, then you start doing transaction. If you go to the ATM cards in other parts, they may have three-factor authentication. You put your card to identify you, and then you put your PIN to identify you again, second factor authentication, and you put again another fingerprint to identify you for the third time. This is three-factor authentication. But for example, in countries like Kenya, to give an example from there, they have introduced with their telecom companies the fourth factor of authentication. So if you want to withdraw money from the mobile phone, first you might need to have the card, that SIM card. You also need the identity card. That is what you, that's what you have. And then later on, you will definitely need a PIN of one individual second factor of authentication. And after that, they have introduced something called jitambulisho, meaning voice recognition. And also, you cannot withdraw money or do transaction if you are far, a certain distance from an agent. So that is something else also they pay much attention to, which is the fourth factor of authentication. The fifth factor, I will explain later, but these four factor of authentication, all of them are hackable. Someone can hack it, someone can have it, someone can gain access to them, and they can misuse them to gain access. So that's why then how you do things, artificial intelligence come on board to explain the body movement, how you do this and that to make sure that they get the right person to access something. So that is the fifth factor of authentication. Now I'm going to concentrate with three and show you how all the three can be hacked. The first one is what you know, password. So password, by definition, these are secret words that can enable individuals to access files, computer. So those passwords, as I've said, contain a unique string of characters to restrict people from accessing sensitive data. So I have many types of passwords. I'll skip that part, from weak password to strong passwords. But again, as I've said earlier, password can be hacked. People can hack our password. So that's why we now think about the second factor authentication, third, and so on. We have various methods to hack people's password. I don't want to touch that at length. You're going to get the presentation. We have like brute force, dictionary attack, and so on. So after that, we also have cracking tools, many cracking tools available today. The list is endless. On my presentation, I tried looking at least 2-3 of them. John the Ripper, which is mostly used to do the auditing of passwords, which individual can easily crack or get a weak password easily. And then we have Canon Enable, and then we have also mess and parse that can crack different messengers and get people's password. As you can see from the picture here, different password can be obtained clearly, and they can even tell you corresponding to what kind of messenger you're utilizing. So a common recommendation with password, I don't want to touch more because I spoke about it earlier, that you need to have strong and unique password that individual cannot guess, and you should change those passwords within at a certain period of time and so on. So this is very, very important. But in addition, we encourage people to not sharing those passwords with others, because if you share them, unfortunately, someone else may misuse them. The story of what you have, those tokens that we receive, either through SMS, through email, through anything else, it's something also people can easily obtain them. We have a lot of examples that this kind of SMSs, people swipe others people's number and get those messages. And unfortunately, after doing so, they manage to bypass that second factor authentication. We have a lot of examples you can see from the slides. I'm going to run fast there as well. And and I've said earlier, we have recommendation that we normally encourage people to do. We can use something else apart from SIM cards or to do that. And we can we know that this can be easily transferred to from one part to another if someone have it. So we can do we can opt to go for another factor of authentication to make it more stronger. So then the last thing I want to talk about is about biometrics, which also can be hacked. We have advantage of biometric because it uniquely identify us, and everyone has unique biometrics. So I spoke about the traditional way of identifying ourselves vis-a-vis biometrics in different way, conveniences, etc., etc. You'll have a look at it on the presentation once you get them. But as I've said, this also can be hacked. We have seen people reusing those biometrics. Once they get the database of individuals' biometrics, they can go and utilize them. Some, they even cut someone's finger and go and open something with that particular finger. We have seen a movie called Salt. I remember it reaches a point where the guy decided to use the president's fingerprints to launch the nuclear attack in the movie. So we have different scenario where people can compromise these biometrics. That's why you have to think about something else as well. So that's why you come into 4-factor authentication and the 5th factor of authentication. I had to run a little bit faster to allow you also to ask a few questions and answer. I'm open to discussion. I'm open to more further talk even after these discussions through my Twitter. You can always keep in touch there. And you can always ask me anything and I'll be able to respond. Now, let me hand it over to you so that if there is any questions that I need to respond to. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Warm round of applause there. IT, can you kindly pull up the online so that we can see? It doesn't seem like from my end there's any questions. Is there any questions, clarifications, remarks in the room in respect of the presentation?